Welcome to Breaking Bread presents the power of backtesting. In this session, I will be showing the importance of backtesting and why we should all be doing it. Some of the things that I will be discussing in this session is what is backtesting, who should backtest, the importance of backtesting, effective backtesting. I'm going to show you guys a few steps that you can use when you're backtesting. I'm going to take it to the charts, and then we're going to end, of course, with the bread and butter, which is just a brief recap some of the key things that we discussed in today's session. All right, so let's get into it. What is backtesting? Backtesting is the process of applying your trading strategy to historical market data to see how it would have performed in the past. At the end of the day, this is just practice. Practice, practice, practice. We know that anything that we want to be great at, we have to practice, and that's what we have to do as traders. We always show up to the game. I know we always show up to the game. As soon as New York session opens, I'm sure we all ready to get into a trade. But who's actually putting in the work before the game? And that's the important part. That's where you build your confidence in yourself. That's where you build the confidence in your strategy. It doesn't matter what trader you look at online, anybody that you look up to and you feel like they have the golden ticket for you to be a successful trader. It doesn't mean when that strategy gets into your hands that it's going to give you those same results. You get those results that you want by building your confidence in that strategy and in yourself. This is where you get it from. This is the practice. This is the hard work. This is the part people don't talk about, right? Yeah, we take the lessons from the L's that we take. We even take the lessons from the W's that we take. We even build our confidence when we are taking those W's, right? But that true confidence in your strategy and in yourself is when you backtest that strategy and you know for a shadow, without a shadow of a doubt, like this strategy, this works for me. But you put in that work to build that trust in that. And that's the important part that we have to do. I always say, like, it doesn't matter what you trade. I feel like every strategy in some shape works. It definitely works. But you have to build your confidence in that strategy. You have to do it. You can't hop from strategy to strategy. Oh, this one don't work. This one don't work. It only doesn't work because you haven't dedicated yourself to making it work. They all work. They all do. You just have to build your trust in it. All right, so who should be backtesting? In my opinion, I feel like everybody should be backtesting. Everybody should be taking time in front of the charts when the market is closed and when the market is open. But if you find yourself struggling with holding trades long enough, then you should be backtesting. If you're cutting trades too late, you should be backtesting. If you're talking yourself out of trades, then you should be backtesting. If you're scared to push the button, you definitely should be backtesting. If you're not getting the results you want, you should be backtesting. Backtesting, backtesting, backtesting. It's important. It's so important. Why is it important to backtest? Well, one, it minimizes your risk. So traders can see how their strategy reacts under different market conditions without losing any money. So this could be paper trading when the market is open, and this could be when the market is closed, and you just going back, picking a random day, and identifying a day and just reading price from that day, right? But it's minimizing your risk. Also, it's important because, like I said, it builds your confidence. So by understanding your strategy and how it has performed in the past, you develop trust in that system. And in a way, it's going to help with your emotions when you're in those trades because you're going to have that confidence that you know it's going to play out in your favor. It's also important because it refines your strategy. So backtesting will help identify your weaknesses and optimize for better performance, which is going to lead to more consistent profits. And it's also going to validate assumptions. So it's easy to assume a strategy will work, but backtesting shows whether those assumptions will hold up over time. So your effective backtesting would be defining your strategy. So you can backtest anything you want. If you want to build trust in fibs, if you want to build trust in support and resistance levels, if you want to build trust when your EMAs cross, if you want to build trust when price bounce off your VWAP, it doesn't matter what you want to build your trust in. Just make sure you have a strategy in place that you want to build your trust in. If you're struggling with your entries, then everything that you should be focusing on is building up the confidence for you to get into your trades. If you're struggling with your exits, then you should be back testing how can you better exit your trades, and not find yourself in situations that you don't want to be in. This is where you put in that work. This is where you should put in that work. But you want to make sure you have clear rules, whether you're back testing or trading live, right? You always want to make sure you know your entry before you get into a trade. You should know your exit before you get into a trade. You should know how much you're willing to lose before you get into the trade. These are all things that you can work on when back testing. So when you're in your trades, you already know, okay, this is what I'm doing. When price does this, I'm playing into these targets. I'm going to exit here, and this is how much I'm willing to lose. And you want to make sure you're using those same rules when you're back testing. You must use those same rules. Also, effective back testing is gathering historical data. So you want to make sure your data is reliable and it covers different market cycles. So you want to get bear market information. You want to get bull market information. You want to get consolidated market information. So you want to make sure your strategy can withstand all three of these markets. That's the whole point of going to get um, the historical data. Paper trading. Paper trading. I'm a fan of paper trading. I'm definitely a fan of that, especially if you're struggling with entries, exits. It's not going so much going to help you on the emotional side of things, but it's definitely going to prove to you that your strategy works. Definitely when the market is open. If you can catch paper trading when the price is actually moving and applying your strategy during those times, that's definitely a good time to paper trade. Definitely. Also, recording your results. I know most people don't write trades that they take, but I'm definitely recommending that to you guys. I've been trading, 2.5 years. I still record my trades. I still go back test trades that I take on both the future side and the option side. There's always room for improvement, and I am going to keep improving. I'm not going to stop what got me here. I'm not going to stop what got me here. And I don't think you guys should either. Never let up. Never let up. Also, refine and repeat. So look at the win rate of your strategy, and look at your risk to reward, and just your overall consistency. And then identify, what's working, what's not working. Identify those weaknesses, and then you can eliminate those and just focus on what's actually working for you. So if you look at the past data and you see that your strategy works best in a bull market, then there should be no reason why you over here playing in a bear market, right? But you want to make sure you got a strategy that fits all markets, not just one. But there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like you're eliminating yourself when you're only trading doing a certain style of the market. You're eliminating that, and that's what we don't want. Not saying, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to go with that, more power to you. But I do recommend you having a strategy that fits all markets. All right, so some of the steps that you can take is first identifying the strategy that you want to backtest. Like I said, you can do this when the market is open, when the market is closed. For me personally, I trade the strat. So when I take it to the charts later, I do want to find my strat setups and confluence off of my fib levels. So that's what I want to build my confidence in. But like I said, you can backtest whatever you want to backtest. You just want to focus on entries, then just focus on entries. If you want to focus on exits, then focus on exits. If you want to focus on stop losses, then just focus on that. Um, but do what you want to do. Do what works best for you. Also, you want different price movement days. Like I said earlier, you want to see how your strategy holds up in a bear market, a bull market, and when prices consolidating. But you want to make sure it's as pure as possible. You want to make sure you really have the confidence. Okay, my strategy definitely works in a bull market. My strategy definitely works in a bear market. When and it's consolidating, this is best. And this is how tight my stop should be when price is consolidating or when price is in a trend. This is how tight my stop should be. You want to have all this data uh, when you're back testing. Also, you want to be true to yourself. So be honest. How many contracts would you honestly buy? What would your stop loss honestly be if you were in this trade? Um, where would you really exit? Where would you really enter? This honesty that you're providing yourself will only going to help you get better in your next trade, because now you can adjust. Okay, well, this wasn't that great of an entry. Maybe I can get in earlier, or this wasn't that great of an exit. Or maybe I can hold a little longer, or maybe my stop loss can just be eased up just a little bit. But this comes from you actually being honest with yourself. You're doing no service to yourself if you're not being honest in your back testing. So you want that data to be as pure as possible, and that's how you get it as pure as possible uh, when you're back testing. Also, you want to collect the data. I know, I don't know, but I know when I first started, people would always say, get your 10,000 hours in. So I can't give you an amount of how long you should sit in front of these charts and train your eyes. I can't give you an amount, but if you're struggling with entries, you should be back testing. You're not done back testing, right? If you're struggling with exits, you're not done back testing. Like I told you guys, I've been trading 2.5 years, and I still back test. So I don't feel like you're ever done back testing, but you definitely have not put in enough hours if you're struggling to get into your trades. If you're struggling to get out of your trades, you haven't put in enough hours. If you're talking yourself out of trades, you haven't put in enough hours. If you're hopping from strategy to strategy, you definitely have not put in uh, enough time in front of the charts. You haven't did it. You still owe yourself some time. So if you're struggling with your confidence, you're struggling with your strategy, then you have not put in enough time in front of these charts. You always get out what you put in. So if you put in half but time, then you're gonna get half but results. But I promise you, the more time you put in, I promise you, you guys are going to reap what you sow. You are going to reap what you sow. So just make sure what you're sowing, make sure it's worth it. Make sure it's worth it, because you're going to get the results that you want, but you have to give your all to it. You give your all, you're going to get all that back tenfold. I promise you. But you just got to trust it, and you got to put in the work. You have to. You have to. All right, so let's take it to the charts real quick. And I just want to show you guys a few things. Let's go. I want to show you guys first Thinkswim. I'm going to show this on TradingView, but I just want to show you this feature that I used when I first started trading on the option side. I don't do it so much on the future side now, but it's this on-demand feature that's up here in the right. Here, you can go to any date, anytime, any time of the day, any date, any year. Like, it's so much data. I don't see how you can't get 10,000 hours on Thinkswim here. Like, there's no way. There's no way. But it'll definitely just play back price for you. You can identify how many contracts you want. Everything that you do normally, you can do on Thinkswim. You can buy your contracts. It'll tell you how much you would have made. Like I said, I haven't done this on the future side, so I don't know if you can buy the contracts on the future side. You definitely can do it on the option side, though. But yeah, just play the market back. Okay, with whatever strategy you're dealing with, like the EMA is crossing. Okay, this is where I want to get in. Or if you're struggling with entries, then where would you enter at? But just make sure you're doing it enough for the bull market, the bear market, and when price is consolidating. But that's what I wanted to show you guys over here on Thinkswim. But let's slide over to TradingView. I don't really use TradingView like that, but I do have a replay feature that you guys can use. And there's different platforms out there to where you can actually do what I just showed you on Thinkswim, that you can Google search, and it'll come up for you to where you can play back the markets and actually buy contracts and see how much you could have made if you would have stayed in your trades or not. But on Thinkswim, I like it because I don't want you guys to know what the candles are going to do. So this whole squeeze on the chart thing, I feel like that's a benefit. You can see like, okay, yeah, this is an uptrend, this is a downtrend. Price looks like it's consolidating somewhere in here. That's what you want to do, right? I don't want you guys to know what price is going to do in those candles. So I do definitely recommend working on that daytime time frame and finding the area that you want to focus on, and then just drop down to whatever time frame that you would normally trade on. So if you would trade on the 15 minute, then that's what chart you should be using. If you use the 5 minute, then that's the chart that you should be using. So just make sure, like I said, it's true to whatever you would do in real life. So make sure it's that part. And then just whatever you're trying to focus on. So if you want to focus on getting better with entries or price coming off the EMAs, whatever your strategy is, that's what you should be focused. That's what you should be focused on. But I'm going to this the daytime frame. This looks like price is consolidating, so I want to play a break outside of this range. So I'm going to drop down. So I got the 5 minute over here, and let's just say we did it off the 15 minute over here. All right, so I said earlier I trade the strat. I want to see some type of confluence coming off my fibs, um, based off the strat. So that's what I want to see. So right now, what is this? This is Friday, Monday. All right, so let's run it forward and let's see what we can catch based off the fib situation. So it's currently looking like we're in a downtrend. We do got this sideways movement at the end of the day here, but for the most part, this is a downtrend. So let's just see if we can catch a strat entry. If you're not familiar with the strat, then this is probably gonna sound foreign to you. But we did in this last candle here as a two up candle. So let's see what this next candle opens up as. Why can't I find price over here though? Where'd it go? Oh, there we go. All right, bet. Bear with me. I'm not a trading view person, but let's see. All right, so next day price gapped up. So what do I want to see? Well, I want to find some type of confluence for me to take this trade. So I got a gap down here below. I got a gap up here above. So what would I do in this situation? Well, I'm going to throw my fibs on here and see if I can catch an entry off my fibs. But I want it to be an area of confluence with the fib. So this is definitely a level of concern here. If we look here to the left, right? So I got price respecting this level of resistance. I got price sitting on my 50%. So based off the strat, I would definitely take an entry to the downside here off this 2-up candle, which will give me a 2-2 continuation to the downside. So that's what I want to look for, right? This is all you're doing, right? Okay, so then what's your target? Well, my target would be the bottom of this wick here. If we can break past that, then I'm going to use these candles to the left here to help identify my next targets and my next targets. That's what I'm looking for. And that definitely filled that whole gap, right? But it took out all the targets that I had to the right side. And that was the ultimate goal, right? My first target was here, and then I said I would just play the rest of these targets here because I did have a gap here. So this played out in my favor. This is telling me, okay, I can definitely trust when my fibs are aligned with something else in confluence, which I use the level of resistance. So that's two things in confluence for me to get into this trade. And this is all you want to do. You want to prove to yourself that your plays work. That's all you do. Prove to yourself that this works for you. But if you're just focusing on entries, then you just be like, all right, well, what strategy do I want to use for entries? Or if I'm looking for exit, maybe you got to bring your target in for your exits. Or maybe you're cutting too early, but identify why you're cutting too early, right? This is stuff that you have to identify when you're back testing. So when you're in the trades, you're not like, oh, I left too much on the table. But did you? You didn't because it wasn't in your plan. But if you would have back tested, you could have identified how you could have stayed in that trade longer. and not watch your P&L more than likely. Um, but that's what you want to identify. This is the whole purpose of back testing. This is the whole purpose of putting in that work. You have to build the trust. You can see, like I said, you can see all these traders online with the different strategies that they have, and they're having that success. But that doesn't mean you're going to have that same success because you haven't put in the work yet. You got to put in the work. It's easy to show up to the game and just get into a trade and you luckily can win. You can definitely do that. And if that's what you want to do, then more power to you. But that's not what I'm recommending. That's definitely not what I'm recommending. Find you a strategy, stick to it, and make it work for you. And that's something that I did not do when I started trading. When I started trading, I ran into a strategy that, in my opinion, probably wasn't the best for my personality, so I hopped to the scrap, right? But I don't feel like I gave it a long enough try. I think I only traded that strategy probably like a month and a half. But it takes time. It takes time. But when I first started, nobody ever told me to go practice. Nobody ever told me to go build my confidence in backtesting. Nobody ever told me that. So that's why I'm telling you guys. You have to do that part. That's the part I skipped until I got to the scrap, and I was forced to practice. I was forced to backtest. Because I knew I wanted to really be a successful trader. And how can I do that if I'm not proving to myself that the strategy works? And that's what you have to do. You have to do that part. So hopefully that helps you guys better understand what you're looking for on the charts. Just focus on what you need to build your scripts, and then you'll be okay. You'll be okay with it. All right, so some of the key things that we talked about in this session was that backtesting builds your confidence in your strategy. Backtesting also builds the confidence in yourself. So if you're struggling to get into your trades, you're not holding trades long enough, you're talking yourself out of the trades, even though price is telling you to get into this trade, you got to put in that work. You got to go practice. You got to go backtest. You want to make sure that when you're backtesting, you're doing it during different market conditions. So you want the bull market, you want the bear market, you want the consolidated, choppy sideways markets. You want to make sure your strategy can withstand all those conditions. Also, you want to make sure the data is pure. So be honest. This is where I would truly enter. This is when I would truly exit. This is how many contracts I would buy. This is where my stop loss would be. You want to make sure it's as pure as possible, and make sure it's not a day that you remember. Like it's not pure data if you know yesterday was in a downtrend, so you want to go back test yesterday's downtrend. Don't do that. Like that's not as pure as it can get. Go find a day that you don't know about. Also, like I said, practice, practice, practice. This is how you become the trader that you want to be. You got to put in that work. You got to put in that work. And you would definitely become the trader that you want to become if you just put in that work. And I'm not even talking about uh like 30 minutes a day and that's it. No, you got like for being the trader you want to be, you got to sacrifice. You got to take time from something else and put it into this market, for you to be the trader that you want to become. But you got to practice. You got to put in that work. You got to ask questions. Find you a trading buddy and trade with that person, and y'all just feed off each other, and keep each other motivated. But you got to build that confidence in yourself and in that strategy. So you know without a shadow of a doubt, when you see your setup, you in that trade, you play it into this target, and we live to trade another day. We take those profits and we go ahead into the next trade. Um, but you got to put in the work. Don't just show up to the game. Don't just show up to the game. Put in the work. Get your shots up. Train your eyes over and over and over and over again. Over and over again. And you'll become the trader that you want to be. But we have come to the end of this session. I hope the information in this session will assist you in some way along your trading journey. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I definitely am here for you guys. But until next time, I thank you guys for breaking bread with me. You guys stay blessed.